Hello there. Welcome to the Antlered Crown podcast, where we discuss brews, witchcraft, spirituality, and more.
We hope through conversation we can continue to learn something new from ourselves and each other.
So come on in.
Beyond the weather and the marsh, there is a whisper in the dark through the tides of disarray, where we list anonymously. If you listen very still, there are answers to the endless, where the ancient pulses deep of the memories you keep.
Hello there.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, you right?
Oh yeah, fantastic.
Great.
Today we're going to talk about plant allies.
Yes, we are.
And that's it.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But first let's start with our Ask Elwynn segment where we discuss a listener's problem and we offer advice. Okay, so Salome asked, when in a relationship does each person's doorkeeper guide communicate with the other on certain issues? And can one person's guide occasionally assist their person's partner? I'm pretty sure I know the answer. It just seems like a good question.
Each individual usually has freedom to express and communicate with another in the spirit world. However, language is not really, you say communication, but communication is not really necessary among spirits in the way that we think. You think how two dogs say hello, they sniff each other's butt, and yet from that one sniff they know everything about that dog, the whole credentials of that dog and their life up until that point. It's very much the same way. You communicate through thought, feeling, sensation, speaks much more, a lot more quicker than language. So for that reason, yeah, they communicate. The presence of each other alone. When you are standing in the presence of someone, you are communicating with them energetically. Oftentimes when we are in close proximity to another person, we can tell how that person is feeling. Sometimes they can affect how we are feeling. It's no different between doorkeeper guides when it comes to people who are in relationships. So yes, you have to remember there are certain things that could just make things easier for you, and sometimes aren't supposed to be easier for you, as hard as that is to accept. They're not supposed to be easier for you.
Gotcha. I don't really know. I don't know. I haven't communicated, I'm going to be totally honest, with my doorkeeper guide recently, but I don't really know how that, I guess I don't understand why they would want to communicate unless they also had a life together at some point.
Well, they're both in spirit, so they can communicate whenever they like.
Yeah, but I mean,
they have a life together now.
Salome, what's your partner doing that you think your guide needs to talk to their guide about?
No, I think it's, it's a sense of a working relationship. You work with people who you have nothing in common with, and yet at the same time, you communicate because of the necessity of the job in hand. It's no different.
Oh, so they're just kind of like colleagues.
If you want.
Like
yes.
you're in the same workplace.
Not exactly when it comes to
checking
spirits.
in.
No, it's not exactly the same, is it? But yeah.
Working 9 to 5.
Yeah. I hope that helps.
All right. Well, we'll just dive in. We'll go straight into plant allies.
Do you know what plant allies are?
I assume it's doing intuitive work with a plant.
No.
Fuck's sake.
It's not intuitive work. You've just thrown that word in there, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
In the form of animism, which is obviously runs very deep within folk witchcraft, people think of familiar spirits as spirits of animals and things such, wild spirits, and physical animals as perhaps a familiar. But many familiars are also plants. all of us have a particular plant that we are akin to, that we like, usually, or a flower, something similar like this, that for some reason or other we have drawn to, we are close to, especially in our study within witchcraft. Um, Oftentimes, its spirit, the very essence of that plant, is something that we can call upon, that we can communicate with in order to teach us, to aid us, to guide us, depending whether it's just in our practice, through forms of spirit flight, ecstatic rites, and such, through meditations, and even healing.
Right.
The tenacity of some plants are far greater than that of an animal. An animal is a different spirit, it's a mobile spirit, whereas a plant is not. A plant requires certain things to make itself either defensive or offensive. And so therefore there are many attributes to different plants that we could use and we are drawn to depending on what we need them for. The spirit of the plant is no different from the spirit of the wind, the spirit of an animal.
So all plant spirits have a defining characteristic, but some plants you're going to be more aligned with based on your needs, or
Based on your spirit.
it's more energetic than that.
Yeah, no spirit is the same as another at all. Some are similar, but none are the same. And it's the same with plants.
So how is that different than from, say, like a familiar?
What do you mean? It is a familiar.
Oh,
That's what I just said.
I must have missed that bit.
Plants are familiars. You were zoning.
So basically what you're saying then is a plant spirit is essentially like a familiar that comes into your life and helps with
It's-
different workings, or...
Yeah, basically. It is a familiar. The spirit of a plant is no different from the spirit of something else. You can use it to help you, to guide you and teach you, as I said just before.
I guess I'm wondering then, when we're talking about plant allies, is this something that someone is going for a walk and seeing this plant and identifying it and like feeling a kinship with it? Or is this like a house plant that they're treating like a baby? Like, I guess, how does one come across a plant ally and thus make it their ally?
All right. Everyone usually already has a favorite wild plant or wild flower. It's a given. All right. Some people like sunflowers. Some people like dandelions. Some people like roses. Some people like mugwort. Some people like calendula. It's already there. You already have the drawing to it. You already have the pull. What you don't want to do is start looking at why. Doesn't matter. You're drawn to it. Start looking at why, you'll start making up your own narrative. Work with the plant. Understand the plant in a herbal sense, using herb lore and wart cunning. How can it aid you physically? Then look more at what its astrological dominions are and what governs it, what elements govern it in an alchemical sense. And then, once you know all that there is to know of its physical self, how it works, when it germinates, all other such things, then try to understand the plant from a spiritual level. You may wish to try and cultivate or grow the plant, to harvest the plant, to wear the plant upon your person, to meditate with the plant. If the plant is safe to do so, you can make a salve out of it and then place it upon your body like a flying ointment. If it is once again safe to do so, you may wish to cook with it, drink a tea out of it, or even smoke the plant if it's safe to do so. Any kind of way you can integrate it into your practice to induce forms of trance, spirit flight, witch flight in other words, or meditation. You can ask it in the way of a dream sense as well, by carrying a sachet of it underneath your pillow and talking to that sachet beforehand. Oftentimes people, if you can do so, have the root of the herb and work with the root itself, treating the root almost as a physical tether to its familiar spirit. This is a common example that is found in Mandragora officinalis, but mandrake, in other words. However, whatever the plant is, you don't need to overthink it. All you need to know is that you're drawn to it. That's it. It's explanatory of itself. If you start looking at the reason, you start pulling apart what it is that tether creates between you and that plant. For instance, one of my favourites is foxglove. I love foxglove. I've always been fascinated with foxgloves. And yet foxglove is something that, as obviously, as you know, is quite poisonous, but has remarkable history within witchcraft. Ever since I was a child, I was obsessed with it. But there is another reason for that. It's also its affiliation with bees. It acts as a shelter for bees as well as a place for them to collect nectar. And so that draws me onto other essences and other spirits that I may work with. So it's all a matter of, don't look so much as the reason why that door is there or that sign is there. Just start fucking walking. A lot of people focus so much on the sign. What does it mean? But what is it? I don't care what it means. Who cares what it means? Just start walking. It's telling you to go that way. Go that way.
Did I tell you, you just mentioned sunflowers, but did I tell you about that TikTok I saw with the nurse and the sunflower seeds?
No.
So.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Oh, okay.
That's not really pertinent to this, though, is it?
Sunflower seeds get stuck in your butt.
Yes. Old people, primarily.
Yeah. Don't eat too many sunflower seed shells. Anyway, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see foxglove. I thought you were gonna go like the other direction though. I thought you were gonna go like mugwort or something.
No, as a matter of fact, oftentimes the more simpler plant and more commonplace the plant, the more tenacious its spirit and the easier to connect to it.
No, it's like weeds and stuff like that.
Well, they're only weeds because you deem them to be.
No, I know, but you know what I mean.
The same way with animals that are considered vermin. They're considered this way because of the effect they have on human will and influence. But apart from that, they're not really either. They're not weeds. They have a purpose. They have a spirit. So yeah, dandelion, for instance. Dandelion.
If you were a plant, what plant would you be?
I don't know.
We should do a personality test because I'd be interested to see.
I haven't got a clue what kind of plant.
Do you know what kind of tree you'd be?
No.
Not a thorn.
A hazel.
A hazel tree.
Yeah, probably.
I was going to say a yew.
Why a yew tree?
I
wouldn't want to be a yew tree, to be honest.
Why?
It's usually.
Because they're deciduous?
No, they just usually get them in cemeteries.
I thought you'd vibe with that.
It really is. You've got to drink human. If your roots all curling around dead people. I don't really want that, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd rather be a hazel tree.
But not in a cemetery.
The tree I was born under was hazel.
Oh.
So, a hazel tree.
A hazel tree, do you? All right.
What about you?
Something annoying.
A sequoia.
It's a sequoia.
I don't know.
Something that just crops up everywhere and you can't kill it. Yeah, that's what I'd be. Moss, maybe. Fucking moss here.
Yeah.
So, I took the screen grab. And it's tips for intuitive plant work.
Is it?
Yeah. Because I wanted to be prepped and I can read 3 bullet points.
Right.
And it's by occult.ish and Rowan Musings on Instagram. Shout out. Make time every week to spend in your local habitat.
What local habitat? What?
I think it just means local nature.
There are plants.
Near a plant. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. Pay attention to the plants and elements that attract your attention.
Yeah, we did that bit.
Make a note of it. Then study the magical properties behind the natural teachers.
Yeah, we did that bit. So that's exactly what I just said, really, wasn't it?
I know. I just wanted to show that I did my homework.
All right.
I'm also here and ready.
What plant are you drawn to then?
Ooh. I really like peace lilies. I think they're really pretty, but I always kill them. And I never can get the flowers to stay on, just the leaves.
Not a great start then.
Yeah, that's not great, is it? They do look peaceful, though.
Anything that's a little bit more wild than a
Oh,
peace lily? Let's try and focus on wild flowers.
well, I mentioned moss.
Yeah, I mean, moss. Yeah.
I think clover. I remember growing up, we had loads of clover in our garden, and
I remember.
I would always braid the clover flowers into
You make
necklaces and
stuff.
but we didn't have daisies. We had clover.
How do you not have daisies?
You saw our garden. We have no daisies. There's loads of daisies, little daisies here. What are those called? The little weed daisies that are in gardens here
Daisies.
in the UK.
That's what they're called.
Are
Daisies.
they? I don't think so. They're not daisies,
You call
though.
the big ones daisies. We call those little ones a daisy.
Oh.
They're all a member of the same thing. Though.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
similar
yeah,
to like
yeah.
chamomile and stuff. You get common daisy, giant daisy, all sorts of shit. Well, that's interesting. Clover's quite a good one.
Yeah.
I like dandelion.
Yeah, they're very useful, aren't they?
Dandelion's very useful. It's a good medicine, but also they're very tenacious. They're very strong.
I think a hard part, though, and we need to make this more accessible, this episode, because a lot of people are going to be like, y'all, I live in an apartment, and there is
Got
not
fucking
a local...
legs, haven't you?
Well, what if they don't?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. Are you what? You want us to do it all for you? You want me to get you a bus timetable that takes you to a national park? You got fucking legs. Can you go and get a pot? Can you go and get a bag of soil? Then grow something.
Yeah, I think it's more not that, but all right, angry boy. I was thinking more along the lines of like, if they don't know what plants they're drawn to because they've never been around them.
Well, look online. There's pictures of them. If one catches your eye, or the name of it, or just what it looks like. Or you've always dreamt of a certain one, look it up, describe it to the internet, what it looks like. And see if there is that. And you're like, oh, that's the one I've always dreamt about. Or you know what a daisy is. You know what a dandelion is. You know what most of these plants that we've been discussing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you live in an apartment. It doesn't matter if you've never seen grass. You know what these plants are.
Yeah.
Presumably. Right? So don't start making excuses.
Right.
Right? Sorry, but don't.
I think there's a difference, though, between having that accessibility, like we do, to just go down to the beach and get...
There's not many plants at the beach.
No, I know, but get something that we might need, like shells or stones or what have you.
Yeah.
Versus other people who are landlocked like we used to be.
But we used to be landlocked. We still went to the woods.
Yeah.
Went across the road. There was plenty of wildflowers and things.
Yeah.
You know, there's things growing in people's gardens if you don't get caught.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, even in the poorest suburbs of a city, there's still weeds coming through cracks in the sidewalk, isn't there? So
yeah, it's not. You know, there's so many opportunities. You don't need ideally, you want a big woodland place like a forest that looks like it's something out of Lord of the Rings. I understand, but if you don't have that, you make do with what you've got.
Oh my gosh, I just had an idea.
Oh dear.
Does that include like vegetables?
Yeah.
And fruits? Like I could be vibing with a carrot?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
What?
That's wild. Okay, so like a carrot could be my plant ally. Like I'd grow a carrot in a pot.
Yeah.
That's
there's
weird.
such a thing as a wild carrot, so yeah. And you got past.
Well, it doesn't. You said it didn't have to be wild. It could just be
wild.
cultivated
It's
by
just
you.
I grow mandrake. It's not wild mandrake. I grow it.
How weird.
Wheat, barley, all of which can be used. You know.
I do like braiding grass.
Yeah. That's neither. Yeah.
That's not really a plant ally at that point.
Well, yeah, no, it is, but it's that's something else, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, But there isn't an excuse. There is no excuse for any, like, go online, get a bag of seeds.
Okay.
What's that, 60p? 50 cents.
Step
for some
one.
seeds.
Step one.
Get yourself a small,
vibe with a certain plant.
small pot of compost.
Step two.
And
Plant
a
it.
pot. It costs you a couple of bucks, and then plant it. Stick it on your windowsill, add a little bit of water. Wait. Talk to it. Become friends with your plant.
So you've curated this plant ally. It has certain properties that are going to assist you.
Yeah.
After you've done your research. What happens if the plant dies then? Where's the what ifs?
You've done a shit job then, haven't you?
You've not taken care of your ally.
You're not taking care of it. No.
You had my back.
Yeah. Then the connection wasn't that
For
strong.
fuck's sake.
That
would be my carrot.
Yeah. Ultimately, there comes a point for most of us where the plant will die. All right? Now, the problem here
What if it's seasonal?
is with... Well, exactly.
It's an annual.
What if it was an annual? Never mind.
Like not a perennial.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So one of the things that you will want to consider is harvesting your plant for use.
Ooh.
Now, for instance, like one of my mandrakes, after a couple of years, I can work with the plant as the plant is, growing, lovely, luscious. But I may wish to dry the plant out and use its dried body as a tag log, as a house for that spirit to remain in and work with. To do so requires a few different things. One of the things traditionally is to feed the plant a mixture of milk with a few drops of my blood. Occasionally. This is to create a stronger bond between yourself and the plant.
I'm sorry, you just said milk?
Yes, milk. However, I would suggest doing it with water. Yeah, mandrakes were traditionally placed in a bowl of milk with a few drops of blood, but that is as the root, not watering it. So you can do it like that, or you can do it with water and blood. It's the same with cats and other such animals and toads and all manner of things that you wish to create as a familiar in a physical sense. It is customary to feed the animal some of your blood. Yeah. Although there is saying that a long time ago it was said that witches would often breastfeed their animals as well as another way of doing that. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yes. Well, anyways, this then after a while, then you can exhume the root and all of the familiar, and then dry it out. However, in order to remain the spirit, you talk to it, tell it what you want to do, make a ritual out of it, harvest it on a full moon, and all such manner of things like that. If it's mandrake, you're supposed to have a dog with you for some reason. I don't understand that. Yeah.
In case it runs away.
Guess so. But
Make the gingerbread man.
yeah. So then you keep the root in a coffin.
In case it runs away.
No.
Oh.
Because it's a housing place where it may rest. The spirit may rest. Is the idea with certain charms
When it's not
and rewards
working.
on it. When it's not
Gotcha.
working, and you still treat it. It's a matter of how you treat it. You feed it and you treat it.
Working 9 to 5.
Thank you, Amanda. So, yeah, that's it.
Well,
So, if it dies, you may wish to consider that.
you fucked
But
up.
The only way it's supposed to die is if you're about to use it, like use its body.
Yeah, honor
But,
it. Got it. Can you have multiple allies at the same time? Could you have an army of allies?
Yeah, obviously.
Fuck.
You're just one. It's not fucking Pokemon.
That's cool. That's cool to think about. I feel like that would be a lot of work though if you had more than like 3.
Why?
Because you gotta talk to them every day
You
and
don't talk to them
connect
every
to them
day if
every
you're going
day.
to keep them in their little coffin things.
Well, no, not their.
How many
coffin
houseplants
things.
have I got?
No, I know. That's what I mean. You got to go around and pet them and talk to them and keep your bond strong.
I talk to a lot of my plants.
God,
I
that
go
seems
around and see to
exhausting.
them and make sure that they're all right and if they need anything. I've got how many plants? 30 something?
That's too many.
Well, it doesn't take me that long, does it?
No, I have no more questions I can think up on the spot about plants. Let me Google some questions real quick for us. Fuck. Oh, there's plant allies for ancestral healing. Goodness.
There's everything for ancestral healing. There's soap for ancestral healing.
Yeah.
It's a market.
There's probably condoms for ancestral healing.
Well, that would be ancestral healing, wouldn't it? Because you're saving some poor bastard being born into this world.
The rose, the ginkgo, plants that have been used for millions of years or long-lived are good for ancestral work.
I've got that ponytail palm. That lasts for about 120 years.
Good Lord, really?
Yeah, they get really big. It's only that big right now.
There's also ancient plants of folklore, such as mugwort, which are the oldest herbs in Anglo-Saxon lore. I don't know about that.
In the law,
Oh.
not in the world. If you want to work with a really ancient plant, I suggest working with fern.
What about transplants?
What's a transplant?
Like plants that induce trances.
Yeah, there's loads of those.
I know,
what
like
about
mushrooms or whatever.
That's not a plant.
Fair enough. How about yarrow?
Yarrow.
Hmm.
Yeah, yarrow's great. It's one of the sacred herbs.
I just worry about, I guess. So you raise yarrow, you kill it, and then you smoke it.
Why would you do that? You don't even have to smoke it. You can carry it in a pouch.
Hmm. Oh, they're just more of like a dream thing? It's not like a smoking thing?
No, well, yarrow won't induce a trance.
Oh. I thought that's what that would mean by transplant.
Witches go into trance electively.
Mm.
They don't induce trance using substances. Not always. But you should have the ability to go into trance like that. You shouldn't have to rely on taking a substance in order to go into trance all the time, otherwise you're in trouble. I know people do, and that's not great. I'll be honest with you.
Can plants that you're trying to ally with tell you no?
Well, yeah.
So then if you're growing a plant that you felt connected with, should you then check in later on? Because that plant didn't really have a say in being born.
No. Do you do that with your kids? You sit them down when they're 4 years old and go, do you mind being my child? Because I've had you now and I've raised you. Or would you prefer it if perhaps I gave you to someone else? What do you think the child's going to say? You've developed a bond and you've already reared this thing and grown it and helped sustain it. Of course it is.
So it's more of a, if this plant is wild, endure.
Could you imagine being that much of a fucking ethical farmer? Like, are the tomatoes ready? Half of them are, but the other ones don't want to be picked. They feel it's undignified.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Touch my vines again, Winslow.
Yeah, no. It's fucking crazy. I'm sorry, we have to go out. We have to reel back from the realms of like new age, I don't even know what the fucking word is for it. Sensitivities.
Woo-woo.
Yeah, of like having to ask them. If you go out into the wild and you should always thank the plant but my goodness, don't just go around and be like, do you mind being my familiar? Like if you raise a kitten, do you mind being my cat? Like, you raise the damn thing. Of course it doesn't mind.
It's happy to be yours.
Plants will let you know if they don't like you anyway.
They'll die.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'd rather commit suicide than spend one more minute in your presence.
Yeah.
I guess that's where it would be difficult to know, at least in my perspective. Like, am I under attack and I need to cleanse? Or does my plant just hate me?
Well, if your plant was happy in the first place, then you'll be fine. You can tell if a plant's happy.
Hmm.
Like, you can tell if a plant is happy or not, right?
Right.
So, there you go.
Fuck's
That's
sake.
it. Like, physically, you can tell if your plant is happy. So, if your plant all of a sudden dies, even though it was happy previously, then there's a problem.
All right. Last question for you.
Oh, God.
Fucking cheer up, Butternut. Last question for you.
Yeah.
What would you recommend to people who are looking for a plant ally? Like, what plants specifically are some good ones to get you going? You talked about hardier plants that are
Yeah, hardier plants.
randos in the wild.
I mean, springtime is
Nettles?
a good time to. Yeah, but you going to plant nettles?
I fucking hate nettles.
You can plant nettles.
Nettles
if you
is
like.
not my ally. Sorry, Vlasta. What the heck?
Nettles are great.
No.
But no.
Vlasta just bare hand grabs them and eats them.
Yeah.
She just grabs them. Good
No,
Lord.
You can use almost anything, but I would say something that's easy to grow. One of the things that I would suggest is perhaps lavender. You can buy lavender pre-grown and just repot it and look after it, and it will do very well on a windowsill. It will do well
mint.
outside. Mint
grows like
wildflower.
wild.
It's like wildflower. It is wild. Mint grows like wildflower, though. It does. You can't kill it. Like, well, it does. It is wild. Mint grows like it's wild because it is wild. I'm gonna plant some mint.
I'm gonna plant mint. It's gonna go wild.
What are you? I'm a mint farmer. Twice.
I really like what are those called? That drink, juleps or something.
What?
A drink with mint in it. Popular at the Kentucky Derby.
Not a clue. Not a clue.
Well, anyway, my
Also,
mint farm
how
will
do
be
you
doing
say
very
Derby?
well.
Derby.
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 No, Derby.
It's a derby.
It's Kentucky Derby.
It's the Kentucky Derby.
Fuck off.
It is.
All our listeners in Kentucky, you'll come and tell him that it's not Derby.
It's a fucking derby, and do you know
It's
why?
Derby.
Because we had a derby, while the Kentucky Derby was just nothing more than a plain of dust. So it's Derby.
Well, anyway, my mint farm would be doing very well.
But mint's a good one. Chamomile is a good one as well.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, some people didn't know this. I was quite shocked. If you just get a chamomile tea bag,
Right.
just tear it open and scatter it on a pot of earth.
Have you done this experiment where
Yeah.
you recommended it?
Yeah.
That it worked?
Yes. They're sprouting now. You just scatter it and then just sprinkle a little bit of earth, but don't cover it completely because there's loads and loads of little seeds in the tea bag, and they'll have chamomile growing. And chamomile you can look after quite well, and you can snip bits off of it to actually use in teas and brews and things. And chamomile, obviously, as you know, is quite hardy, but it's also loves sunshine, and it's very, very good for calming and focus and energy. So therefore, that's a good one as well. Rosemary. You know, it's just go simple. Don't go and start looking for the most exotic herbs. And for God's sake, don't start growing mandrake. It's incredibly difficult. It is incredibly difficult and incredibly
Finicky.
poisonous.
Expensive.
Like, incredibly poisonous. You will die. Okay. It's not expensive. It can be expensive. But, yeah. It's just very difficult to grow from seed.
Well, there you have it.
So there you have it. Is it? Well, can I go now?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're just going to say, see you later, alligators.
Bye-bye.
See you around, friends.
Mm-hmm.
Get yourself a plant ally. Go harvest a carrot. And do your thing.
Don't do that.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye.
You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook as The Antlered Crown, or on YouTube as Elwynn the Witch.
I offer a variety of readings, including bone, tarot, medium connection, and deity guidance, as well as spiritual consultations, which are done live and scheduled via Zoom. I am also offering spell work and custom merchandise, all of which you can find on my website, theantleredcrown.com.
You can also join our community on Patreon and get access to our Discord server, group meetings, one-on-ones with Elwynn, tutorials, discounts, and other goodies, depending on the tier level you choose. And always remember,
Tip your witch, bitch.
bye-bye!
Bye.